Questions? So assuming it's still the case, what is it like to go into a season where, knock on wood, you actually have everyone available?
Yeah, it's practices have been a lot more spirited this year. Man, the last few years, all we were doing at this time was running a bunch of dry stuff because we didn't want to get anybody else hurt. But the competition's been good. The guys have been working really hard. Very pleased with their effort. With some of the long practices, their focus hasn't been what I wanted it to be. But for the most part, they've gotten after each other pretty good. The only guy we've had out is Supreme Cook, who's still not back from a scope that he had. But everybody else is practicing, and we've had very few missed days, which is encouraging at this point.
Middle was playing really good before he got hurt and then got sick. Is he close to where he was maybe around this time last year, or how's his development just been?
No, Nate's worked hard. I've been pleased with his progress, with his effort, great attitude. He's had a good summer and he's had a good fall. He's put on some weight. He's trying to take a more physical role. His maturity level, just been really good. And like I said, his focus has been so much better. So, like I said, I hope we do keep him healthy because he'll be a big part of our team. He's changing a lot of shots. He's blocked a lot of shots in practice, which, without Dante, someone's got to protect that rim a little bit, and Nathan's done a good job of that.
You said him sliding into kind of Dante's.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we're going to play him at different spots. Obviously he can go outside and do some things that Dante couldn't. He's not quite as powerful as Dante inside, so we can't use him the same way. But I think there are some different ways that we can use Nate to show what he can do and what he's been productive at in practice.
Who are some of those other guys at the 5 spot there? Just so many of them are guards and wings by pass. Who else is kind of working at the 5?
Well, Supreme, when we get him healthy, we'll play some in there. KJ, we'll play a little smaller. We could play real small. We wouldn't be real small, but we could play with Brandon Angel there, and then play Mookie at the 4, and or even KJ at the 4, and we got some big guards with TJ Bamba and Raheem Moss, Bam, Dez. So we've got some bigger wings that we could play smaller at the post and still be okay. But that's all predicated on Supreme getting back and how productive he'll be and how quickly we can get him up to speed.
You said immediately that you need to adjust to this new era of college football, that you were initially dragging your feet a little bit. Can you elaborate on that? What does that adjustment look like for you?
Well, I'm not getting adjusted to football, but basketball, it's just different. Guys coming here for different reasons, recruiting is so much different than it was. It used to be your relationship with maybe their junior college coach or their high school coach or their AAU coach, and a process of knowing the family. And the portal, it's been described as speed dating, and that's pretty accurate with the portal. But even freshman recruiting is different. And so I've had to adjust. It's kind of hard changing something that you've done for 30, 40 years. But I think we've made the adjustment. It's good to have our staff back, guys that I've known and I know are really effective. Tony Stubblefield back and Josh back, give us a big boost. They know me and have some faith in what I'm trying to do, and I've got a lot of faith in what they're trying to do. So.
Is there a part of that change that you enjoy the most?
I'm sorry?
Is there a part of that change that you enjoy the most?
Oh, I don't know. I've always enjoyed going to practice. I think that's a big part of it. You know, I enjoy seeing guys, you know, get benefits. I said 10, 15 years ago, you know, when the NCAA was bragging about bringing in $1 billion for the NCAA tournament, I thought it was really embarrassing that a lot of the parents weren't able to go. They couldn't afford to go. I mean, you can't sit there on one hand and brag about how much money you're bringing in, and on the other hand, the people who are responsible for that, you know, some of their parents weren't able to go because of economics. And I thought that was really unfair, or parents not being able to go to a bowl game. So I personally thought players should have got some money, you know, a long time ago, especially for their families and that, to get to games. And I think families at games is a big, big part of, you know, the experience. So, but I think, you know, the pendulum swung from one end to the other, and people are adjusting on the fly, and now we've got a bunch of new legislation possibly coming in, you know, if the courts approve the revenue sharing and so forth. So it's going to be a whole new era for all of us. Change is coming, and in what form, I don't think anybody's sure.
Can you talk a little bit about leadership with Jermaine and Dante gone, kind of who's stepping up and what that leadership group is looking like?
That is a big hole for us to fill. Those two guys were tremendous. Dante, just with his presence and bringing it every day. Jermaine, with his consistency and practice and his effort level. And both those guys were older, you know, and so guys have a tendency, you know, we had 3 freshmen come in last year, and some, you know, Bam was a junior college transfer. And when you have those old guys that have been there, done that, you know, there's just a natural progression there for leadership, and they did a tremendous job. You know, we've got some guys that will step into that role this year. I think Brandon Angel, TJ Bamba, Raheem, those guys that are fifth-year guys. Nate's trying to step up, give us some leadership. You know, KJ Evans has made a big jump from a year ago, just his consistency day in, day out. Really been pleased with that. He's leading us in deflections and rebounding. He's trying to do some of those things that a year ago, you know, he wasn't quite focused on. So he's done a much better job. So I don't know if we have any 1 or 2 guys that are stepping up and taking the complete leadership role, but I've been very impressed with the way they brought it in practice. And some of the grad transfers, you know, or the older guys, you know, they're focused. There's a sense of urgency, and that always kind of brings the other guys along.
Going back to the freshmen, Jackson Shelstad was one of those players that had to step up in light of a lot of injuries last year. How have you kind of seen him grow from his freshman year now to this year?
Well, he's a little bigger, a little stronger, has a much better feel for what's going to happen this year than he did a year ago. He's always had a good work ethic. He's getting up extra shots. I've got to ask a lot more of him this year. Because of those injuries last year, defensively, you know, we had to have him on the floor. He couldn't pick up fouls, you know, and he's got to be much more aggressive defensively this year than he was a year ago. He's got to do a better job getting a few defensive rebounds, because we don't have right now that pressure, you know, not to foul. You know, we've got Keyshawn, we've got Raheem who can play the point. You know, we've got depth. And so he's got to be much more aggressive defensively. He's got to do a little better job on the boards. And offensively, stay aggressive. But also we've got some other guys who can score. He's got, you know, his assist-to-turnover ratio also has got to take a step, you know, in the right direction. And he did a nice job getting the ball to Jermaine and Dante last year. They did a nice job of getting him the ball. But he's going to have to distribute as a point guard, get a few more assists, and like all the players have been on him about turnovers, you know, we got to get some shots on goal and being aggressive but being smart, you know, at the same time.
He was another guy that was playing well before he got hurt. how impactful is it for his decision to play another year of college basketball? He said he wasn't sure if he was going to do it around the injury time, and just what's his impact going to be, you feel like, with this team?
Well, Keyshawn was playing good when he went down last year. He gives us depth at both spots. The point, he can play the off because he's shooting it really well. As with Jackson, he's got to get a little bit more physical on the defensive end and do a little better job there. But I've been really pleased with the way he's bounced back from his injury. His effort this summer, his effort this fall has been good. So I think Key will do a good job for us.
From a bookkeeping standpoint, Dana, because the roster is more full, I think you're using all 13 scholarships. So is Alexander on and Drew off, or who's the 13th? Because it looked like you had more bodies than scholarships at this point.
I'm not sure who you're asking about, but no, we have 13 scholarships. Drew's a walk-on, and I don't know who.
Ukrainian, I might be pronouncing.
Oh no, Sasha is. I don't know how to pronounce his last name either. It's kind of a mouthful, And I ask him, and he gives me different pronunciations each time. But no, Sasha's on scholarship. Yeah.
Dana, there's been a lot of talk for football about how travel on the West Coast impacts. How big of an advantage is it for you guys to be out here, and how much does that matter focusing on your home games?
I don't know. Those teams only have to make one trip, so I don't think it's that big a deal for them. They're either coming to us in Washington or UCLA and USC on a road trip, one trip. We'll make 5. So I don't think it's that big a deal for them. I don't think it's that big a deal for us. We've talked about it. We've spoke with a bunch of teams, trying to figure it out. Fortunately, they're spaced out. It will be more travel than usual, but I think, we're making some arrangements to make it as comfortable as possible for our guys. 2 days in between each game. They have a 2-day prep rule in the Big Ten. We only have the 1-day prep rule here in the Pac-12. So I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. We're just, guys are young. I think I'll have to do a better job practice-wise, maybe a little more film, a little less me putting them through the paces on the floor. We're going to have to make some adjustments there in January, February, and March. But I don't really, in analyzing it and the trips, it'll be a little different. And I got to really, like I said, I'll really have to save their legs in practice a few days. We're going to have to do a lot more film work, which is an advantage with an older team. We've got a lot of seniors, a lot of guys with experience. So I think that's a big advantage, when we're traveling around.
How do you feel about some of the split of Dana? Because you got 2 one-offs to LA rather than them being paired together, and the one-off to Minnesota is just bizarre because that could have been paired with Seattle very easily. You literally played Washington that week, but it's at home. So just from the logistical aspect, all the way to Minneapolis for one game.
Yeah, like I said, TV dictates a lot of that, as everybody knows, and we're not going to win that battle arguing with them, So 2 trips to LA will be different. I wasn't expecting that, but like I said, I think our guys will adjust. I'll adjust. I've got to do, like I said, a better job in practice, keeping everybody fresh. I'm hoping we keep our depth because I think that'll be critical. If we do have everybody ready to go, healthy and playing, the advantage of playing multiple guys different ways does give us, if you're playing 6 or 7 guys and it's a big difference than if you're playing 9, 10, 11.
You mentioned in the past couple of years, there's lack of depth being able to press because you didn't want to tire your guys out. Is that something you're talking about?
Oh, absolutely. No, we're going to go back to the way we have traditionally played. This team will look or try to play in the same style as, our teams, really before 21, before, 22, 23, 24, we haven't played quite the same way. But I'm hoping to get back to the way we want to play, you know, and you know, you do something, you feel comfortable with the system, and then the system changes because, you know, of injuries or personnel. But I feel very comfortable that this group can get back to playing the way we used to play.
There was a lot of hype and expectations around Mookie Cook last year. Obviously, you didn't realize it because of injuries for a lot of part, but what have you seen from this offseason and this kind of his development and growth in the program?
Well, you know, it's tough. You know, it's going to be a process. He was out a full year. You know, he played in 5 games and 20-some minutes total, I think. You know, and he didn't practice. You know, very few practices. So, you know, we do practice for a reason, and, you know, we do have individual workouts for a reason to get better, and he just couldn't do them. And so, you know, he started this summer. He missed a lot even in the spring. But he started this summer gradually getting back. He's been better in the fall now. He is making progress. He's starting to rebound the ball, use his athleticism there. So, you know, it's going to take some time. You know, you don't miss a full year of playing and just bounce back right away. But he is making progress, and last couple of weeks he's been a lot better. So I think as we get into the season, you know, we'll be able to use that athleticism on our press, use that athleticism defensively as he gets a better feel for our offense.
What does Jamari bring to the team as the lone freshman of the group?
Jamari's got a gear. He's talented. You know, he's making some freshman mistakes right now, taking some really bad shots. But no, I like his talent. He's got an edge to him. He's going to be a good player. He's going to be a good player. I think as he picks up our defense and, like I said, cuts down on a few of those hopeful shots that he's taken, you know, I think he'll blend in good. But it will take some time. He's on an experienced team, so he's, you know, I talked to him about it. I said, now, Bud, you know, you're playing against 22, 23-year-olds, and, you know, T.J. Bomba's strong, Raheem's strong, Bam, you know, it's just going to take a while to make that adjustment. Don't get impatient. And it's a process, but he is talented, and he can shoot the ball, so he's going to be a good player.
How do you feel like Dez fits into this group?
Dez has had last couple of weeks been a lot better. So, you know, I like his athleticism. I like his length. He also gets a little optimistic about some of his shot selection. But he's athletic and he's strong. He's having a little shoulder issue right now that has kind of slowed him down. But no, I like Dez. I think he's, you know, he and Jamari they both got a lot of upside. Just going to take a while. You know, they don't have the experience that some of our other guys do. And so it's just going to take a little bit longer for them to blend in.
After avoiding Creighton for that many years, did you just have so much fun in the tournament that you couldn't be held back from playing them in Vegas?
Who knows what's going to happen there? But no, you know, it's a great tournament, you know, and there's still some debate on how they're going to put, you know, I'm pretty sure the schedule's going to stick, but they could still change some things just with, you know, how it's set up. But they've got 8 really good teams there, with the exception of Rutgers. You know, we will probably have a chance to play any of them. But I don't know. They're going through, you know, a lot of the other promoters and everybody, you know, looking at this tournament. And so we'll see how it all blends out. But, you know, I like the aggressiveness. I like what they're doing for the players. And our players are excited about it. You know, we're playing good teams. So we're looking forward to a long week. They moved the date, you know, till Saturday. We're supposed to play Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And TV, of course, moved it to Saturday. So we'll see how that blends out.
Are you guys still Are you still committed to playing in that multiple years? That's a big thing that they're talking
Yeah,
about.
no, the players want to play. So, no, I mean, it's just where the game's going. And so, but the players feel, it's something they want to do and good competition. I like the fact that it's in Vegas, so we don't have to travel very far. No, I think it's good. It's good for the players. I think it's great competition, so it'll be great for our team. But anytime you do something new like this, there's always some bumps in the road. And since we're playing in the first year, but I believe in what they're doing. I believe in helping the players out. And so I think it's good for our program to be in it. All righty.